Hello. Today I wanted to discuss or share some information that I've discovered and describe something that I haven't necessarily seen put together before, and that's the multi-dimensional levels of free will, divine will, and how Ascension is tied into all of that. I've heard people discuss and debate on whether there is free will or divine will, and the majority of the discussions and information that I've seen, it's either pointing towards one or the other. And the thing about all that is that when we're only looking at things in a polarity view of one way or another, usually that's tied into because we're not using our multidimensional levels of, say, vision or consciousness. When we are integrating our multidimensional levels of being and consciousness, we are seeing and understanding or comprehending things on multidimensional levels. We see the view of things from just another angle. As the example that I've used in the past regarding our multidimensional levels of self as just a skyscraper, and as, for example, like with the ego consciousness that's tied to our physical body, that would pretty much be included in the bottom 3 floors of that skyscraper. And as we look out the windows of the skyscraper, for each, say, looking out the window of the vision of, say, our I am presence, that we might see and comprehend things to a greater degree, but we're still looking out the same window of the building. We're still seeing the same landscape of the trees and the mountains as we were basically out of the bottom 3 floors of the skyscraper. We're still the building that basically houses the ego and all these other levels of ourself, many that we may have not even say integrated or able to perceive yet. But the thing regarding that I really wanted to tie together, because so much is changing in the world, and that the more that we comprehend who we are and integrate more of the understanding of who we are, the easier things are, that we are. It's easier for us to understand the changes that are currently taking place on Earth. So let's look at first our physical body, our personal self, and what pretty much is on Earth is called free will. We have the will of choice, which is what free will is. It's the choice to make decisions on, say, going in one direction or another direction. We can make a choice of, say, remembering who we are today, or we can postpone it off to another day. That's the choice of free will. We can choose fear, or we can release fear and then have a understanding and experience more love and bliss. That is free will. We have the free will of choice of experiencing fear or not. And everybody on Earth has that choice. That is basically free will of our personal identity. But then on an I am presence level, our I am presence is basically our eternal self, or what some people may call our authentic self. It's the level of our being that is eternal, that has experienced all of our past lifetimes and simultaneous lifetimes, and it holds the records of our eternal remembrance. And so it experience in itself. And our I am presence has its own will. It has its will to, it has a plan that it wishes to experience and learn in this life that we are physically experiencing. The difference between our I am presence will, the will of our I am presence, and the will of our physical, say, personal physical identity or whatever you want to call it, is that a lot of times mentally in our physical body we might not comprehend what our I am presence, the will of I am presence is. And a lot of times if we get off track, or say if we're not necessarily in alignment with the will of I am presence, especially these days with so much changes going on in the planet, things will happen in our lives that will get us back on track of the will of the I am presence, of our I am presence. And a lot of people are going through this currently with their jobs, what they're doing in their physical lives, and also in their relationships. And if there's something that we're really not happy what we're doing, and we're not really following our passion and so on, things will happen that will pretty much bring us back in alignment for what our eternal purpose is in this life. And a lot of times when we go through one of these experiences, say of a job change or a relationship change, we might perceive that this is not necessarily a fun experience. It might not be very easy. For example, an example was just described to me yesterday, and we were having a conversation, is a woman was at this job for a very long period of time, and she just was very unhappy in a lot of different ways. And one way or another, she actually did some things to get fired from the job. But it was afterwards that she realized that she was so much happier from not being there. It was just so much inner turmoil. And also, she had mentioned that while, the thing that she did to get fired from the job was totally like not her. She's like, something just came over me that made me do those things. The thing is the thing to realize, a lot of people in our ego and our perceptions of what we see is real or what not real, we might see some kind of evil thing made me do these things, or made me say this or do that. But in alignment, if we're out of alignment with our own, say, balance, harmony, bliss, passion, and so on, we basically create those scenarios that will put us back in alignment with our own passion, our own flow, our own eternal vibrance, or whatever you want to call it. And so that's going on a lot right now on Earth. Things are aligning with more of our mission of our own I am self. Whatever does not align with that within our current life, things will change, and it might not necessarily be what we think as what the way things should be. A lot of times it's not like that. It's an eye-opening experience when we look back and we say, wow, that was really crazy, but now I understand why this happened. And so a lot of people are going through that currently. And so that's the will of, say, our I am, say, self. And then another level, basically more of, say, our collective self. Look at that. It's as a collective of us on Earth, we have a collective will. And last December of 2012, we collectively made a choice to go through a portal of time and space. We made the choice to integrate and move beyond the time that we were in through a portal of whatever you wish to call it. And it was our collective will, and in a lot of ways, our will, when we're looking at things on that level, is also tied into, say, our collective vibration, which is our collective light quotient, in a way. And we have to be operating in a certain vibrational level in order to move forward into other things, or say, move into this water out here. We have to be the vibrational level of, say, that resonates in a frequency range in order to even mix in this water. Similar to like how oil would float on top of this water, that means because it's a different consistency. The same thing goes for light quotient, our vibration, our collective vibration, in order for us to move into, say, other levels of the fourth and fifth density or whatever, we have to be resonated in the same frequency ranges as those levels. And so that's the reason why we've been going through so much purging and all this other stuff that we got going on. It assists us in raising our vibration, our collective light quotient. So collectively we have a will. And then on the earth, Mother Earth or Gaia or whatever you wish to call her, is she has her own will, and she is ascending. She is we're moving. Her Mother Earth is already, say, a fifth dimension, and what we're doing right now is the physical Earth is now just releasing its density to align more with the consciousness of, say, and will of Mother Earth. So that in itself, a lot of the things that go on with the Earth and how fast we go through this transformation is also aligned with the will of Mother Earth. And so us, its physical body, basically, since we're on Mother Earth, we're also tied into the will of Mother Earth. When Mother Earth decides to make more, say, physical changes on the planet, it's going to set off things that basically going to affect us as a physical people. And that's where we, it's the more that we're connected with Mother Earth and our physical mother, or whatever you wish to, how you used to view that, the easier the transformation is, because we comprehend that we're basically one with the Earth. So another level out is the universe. The universe, the will of the universe, and the whole universe, not just Mother Earth, is also ascending. And we have a will as far as the our collective self of the universe. And moving into another level of vibration, another level of consciousness. And if you look at things that are going on these days, we have changes going on with the sun. And all the other planets are changing in there. If you actually take the time and do the research, the scientists are basically proving and putting out information that shows that basically Mars, Jupiter, Venus, they're all having changes going on with their atmospheres and with their systems and everything else. It's the same as what's going on with the Earth. The sun is got changes going on with it. Nothing's ending, all is only changing in different levels and vibrations. And what is vibration and energy? It's consciousness. So, and beyond the universe, we have the galactic, and beyond that, we have cosmic, which is the cosmic, you could say cosmic source of all that is, the will of Source. And the will of Source is pretty much, it's on a cycle. We go out beyond in billions of years of exploration and experience in this life, in our lives in different forms, and we experience different levels of life. And then there comes a time where we make the corner and we start making our way back to Source, and everything will eventually move all the way back to Source. All will originate and go back to where we originally came from. And that is basically Source, everything. And that means everybody and everything and every energy that exists within this universe and so on. There is no separation. Everything is, one way or another, a product of Source. So, we have many, many different multi-dimensional levels of will, as I just explained. And our perceptions, according on how much of our own multi-dimensional levels of consciousness we've integrated ourselves, that we are able to comprehend how we fit into all of that. Basically, all the way down to our physical body, we are a cell, just a cell. And within that cell is other cells, just like within our physical body. It has many different types of cells within this physical body. This cell of the physical body is tied to levels of our consciousness. And just as I was describing about the skyscraper of the building and levels of our own consciousness, this physical body is a product of our I am presence, our consciousness of our I am presence, which is basically just a bigger cell, one cell within another cell. Our expanded self is basically just another bigger level of the cell with cells within it, the cell. If I'm explaining that halfway understandably. So as we basically go out in our expanded levels of ourself, which is the earth, our collective self, our universal self, our galactic, all the way out to the cosmic collective one of everything that is, everything exists within its own self. And we are basically the cell within a cell. We could see the separation of ourselves within one cell, and we keep messing around in this one until we finally realize that basically we are this cell. When we finally mess around with that in that greater cell, then we will comprehend things to the expanded levels of the self, which is the collective and universal and so on. It's not a belief of what I'm describing here. This is own levels of comprehension of who we are individually and also who we are collectively. The reason why I'm describing this and this information is to assist and for your own exploration and learning who you are. It's because we are basically those cells. We are just living and exploring and experiencing within one level of this, say, experience here on Earth. So now tying into what we're going through currently on an accelerated, what's called Ascension. Ascension in itself is only change. It's changing vibration from one level of vibration to the next. Ascension in consciousness, and we have physical ascension. We're going through right now both. We have a collective ascension going on, where, like I described earlier, Mother Earth is ascending, the whole universe is ascending, and we are existing within that. And so we have free choice, we still have free choice as a physical body here on Earth to make the choices of how we wish to go through this collective ascension. The more that we release the separation from our own self, from the collective self, from the earth, from the universe, and so on, the easier the changes are through what we're going through. And when I say release the separation, what I'm meaning is release the separation from your own levels of self. Release the fear, release the judgment, release all the beliefs that you have within your mind that may be even judging what I'm currently saying and saying, oh, he believes this to be true or that believed to be true. Those are illusions. That is judgment. Beliefs are illusions in themselves. No matter what you've read in a book, what other people told you to believe or whatever else, those are all illusions. The more that you release all those, you actually have the opportunity to experience the truth. And the truth is not a belief. It's actually a physical experience. The example I use for explaining a belief is something that we believe to be true, but we have not physically experienced it before. Once you physically experience something, it's an experience. It's knowledge. There is no belief in an experience. When somebody punches you in the arm or taps you on the arm, that's an experience. You don't believe that somebody tapped you on the arm. So what I'm describing here and everything I just shared with you is actually experience. It's comprehending and actually levels, seeing and understanding things on multi-dimensional levels. We are multi-dimensional level. We beings. We have multi-dimensional levels of consciousness. So the more that we release the separation and love, and we love ourselves without conditions, the more these multi-dimensional levels of comprehension, knowledge, and connections with ourselves basically comes in to our own being, and we are able to understand these things. So, I hope that this information that I just shared assists you in your own path and your own remembrance, and through these times of change, to know that everything that we're currently going through is in alignment with divine will. When I say divine will, I mean eternal will. The will not only of our I Am Presences, but also our collective, and also Mother Earth and the universe. To be one with these changes, to be one with your own self. Just to love yourself. Release the fear. Release all that no longer resonates with oneness, bliss, harmony, and balance. I send all that out to you now. So, may we all walk in peace and harmony on earth, and go through these changes however we wish, because no matter what we decide as a collective to go through in the future, it's all in alignment with our own will. So if we got to be necessarily at peace with change is when we're at peace with our own will on different levels, and just be the example of change. Integrate your own levels of multidimensionality and your own I am voice, and speak and be the example of peace and balance on earth now. So until next time, namaste. See you next time.